Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. Hi, guys. Happy Monday. This is actually not the first recording for today. I made a mistake and deleted the first recording, but that's cool. Of course, we've been going over the periodic table, but we are cutting in between because that topic is going to take a while. And we're going to start experimenting with some of the elements on the table, right? So, of course, you don't have to wait for me to go ahead and study and do whatever it is that you do, right? But we were actually going to talk about language and semantics today, but I'm not going to lie, I didn't even do the proper studying for that topic, but the creator did want me to address something. Now, we've talked about there being warfare and us being able to identify it and spot it. Now, the topic is just going to be about preparing your mind and your spirit for the response to that combat, because you have to be mindful that we've raised our vibrations, right? We're a part of this great consciousness, and whoever is not on that vibration, they're going to attack you in the spirit, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's going to manifest down into the physical. Now, what happened on that ship is a prime example of that, right? We have people now, people who are not your color can be a part of that consciousness, and people that are your color don't have to necessarily be. Okay, so I'm not saying that people who are of another race or ethnic background are your enemy. Your enemy is someone who's being used by the darker side, by lower level energies, to distract, devour, and destroy, and deter you. It doesn't matter how they look on the outside, okay? This is a spiritual battle, okay? And remember, sometimes your ancestors and angels and your spirit team, they don't necessarily have to be someone from your direct, background, okay? So I'm not saying someone who is not black is your enemy. You have to be able to identify your people in spirit. Okay? As you ascend, as you advance, as you prepare and encourage your children to do the same thing, you have to expect to be attacked. With all these cycles opening and closing, with all these transitioning happening, because remember, even a school year starting out is a new beginning for everyone attached to that child and to you, right? You're adjusting to go back to a schedule. You're going to probably be meeting new people, so are your children. These are new portals, right? You're resuming to a particular way of functioning. Distractions are going to come. You have to prepare yourself for everything to distract you, basically, right? And slow you down and delay you. Now, what does this look like in the spirit? Everything. It's chaotic. It's what it looks like. Chaos. The same way it looks down here, it looks even worse up there. Because the things that manifest down, we get a portion of it. We don't get all of it. And if we do get all of it, it doesn't come at one time. So again, you have to prepare yourself for things to come and attempt to throw you off your pivot. Now, I have a greater understanding of, the things that can appear to just be a regular fight, but I'm aware that it's a spiritual thing transcending down. And that fight that happened on that ship was a spiritual thing that transcended down, because the people who are of one consciousness have decided to combat people who are not. And that can look like anything. That can look like people deciding to vote for one person. That can look like people deciding to take a stand and fight on one particular thing. This doesn't have to be a black and white thing or anything like that. So please don't take my words and turn them into that. What I'm saying is your understanding and your ability to work these things out is required. Okay? Your ability to understand has to be increased. That's your discernment. Your ability to look at something and know what it is. Even when it doesn't look like what it looks like. That comes from God. Now I understand that, your preparation may look different from my own, but the overall idea is to know how to respond to these attacks. Know what they look like and know how to respond to them, if you have to respond at all. The physical portion of that combat is unfortunately something that transcends down and manifests when the attacks are that real. When new portals need to be closed and open, this is sometimes something that has to occur. People going to jail is a cycle, starting or closing. I am aware that we have this thing, this war. Okay? And if you think I'm lying, how come we're swimming now to assist our comrades? That's a cycle being broken. What it looks like to me. That phobia of water is being eradicated. Okay? The pursuit of combat is being invited. We're not running away from that. We're running to it and we're adding on to the solution. We're becoming a part of the combat to lead to solution. Again, my understanding of these things are subjective, right? They're going to be different from your own. But the ability to observe and interpret this for what it is universal. You don't need to think like me or have my spiritual gifts to understand that warfare is manifesting now, and this is one idea of what it looks like. We all have spirits that are elsewhere when we're not physically, consciously here and awoken to what it is that we're dealing with. I'm not in the business of trying to convince anyone of anything. My job is to speak about the things people are not paying attention to and remind you that the world we live in is more than just one world. We dwell in more than one realm. We exist and coexist in many different timelines. And the sooner you understand yourself and those other timelines, the easier this thing will become. It's not my job to get you to want to actively participate in raising the vibration. That's your job. That's a part of your soul's purpose. To be enlightened and raise your own vibration and directly affect those around you that you come into contact with. That's your part. We all have our part in this. And although, we all want to be of the light, it's some people's job to be of the darkness. That is their job. We all have a role that we play. And my desire to be a part of the greater consciousness is a decision. I have a desire and I decided to say, okay, yes. Because there's a lot of people who want to see change, but they're not actively willing to participate in that change that they want to see. So again, whatever it is that you see, you have to learn how to interpret it for whatever it is. Okay? A typical fight doesn't have to be warfare, but when you see brawls like that, with two opposing races, that is a spiritual battle that has ensued up above and it manifested down. And I can give you so many examples of why and how, but that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is showing you that there is a way to approach that and combat that. That doesn't have to lead to a bunch of people going to jail. If that was on land, that would have been way worse. Okay? And like I said, I can go on with many examples. But the topic is about knowing how to identify and preparing your response. Knowing how to respond to the warfare because of this ascension. We spoke about there being a war, but this is the real deal. We're in it. And we spoke about the attacks coming at any time. We're in it. Those attacks can look like anything. Those attacks can look like a fire, a car accident, a disease, an argument, a fight, losing money, losing your appetite, being upset out of nowhere for no reason all the time. Right? These attacks mimic real life situations. We talked about that. So knowing that, you got to be on point. You got to increase your prayer life. You got to increase your ability to be humble. And your willingness to be humble. You got to be willing to know how to separate things that don't go together. Because that's how warfare starts. When you can't identify what goes where, when things are out of place, you get attacked. Because the enemy knows when you can't see something for what it is, and they'll use it against you. These Karens and these Keishas, right, are demons. Man or woman, black, white, or brown, or green. Gender and race is not to be used as a tool to ignore. The only thing you should be debating is how you're going to approach your attack, your approach, your response. Okay? The way you perceive and understand is going to determine how you respond. The more you know, the better your tactic will be. And before we go, I just want to say, we can walk away, we can ignore, we don't have to engage. But if you do decide to engage, you make sure that your response is coming from a spiritual. You can't approach these things with the physical world mindset. You have to respond in a spiritual manner with the idea and the understanding that you're approaching someone who is attacking you on the spiritual, which means it requires less physical and more of a mental and spiritual response. Okay, I'm going to end it here. I do love y'all. I hope all is well. I hope y'all are enjoying your summer as it is coming to a close. I hope y'all are drinking y'all water, eating y'all fruit and vegetables, and sipping y'all tea because it's free, and getting y'all rest. Alright, love y'all. Peace.